Hello friends, this is my first video lecture for your class and it is on Module 1A Oral Skills for SAME 3. We all know that there are 4 language skills: listening, speaking, reading and writing. And this should be learned in the same sequence. We learn any language by listening to it and slowly we start speaking it. Once we master the knowledge of the alphabet and basic grammar, we start reading a language, and the final stage of mastering any language is writing in a language. Now, if you see language skills, these 4 language skills are divided into oral and written skills depending upon the nature of these skills. Oral skills are those which are spoken, and use of our mouth is the main thing in them. Listening, speaking and reading all constitute oral skills, whereas in written skills there is writing involved, and it involves basically our hands. So in the oral skills we are going to discuss many oral skills. Oral skills are also called presentation skills because we usually make of speech in all these skills. We use them to present or ask information, to present our point of view, to express our opinion on a particular topic, or even to register some complaint. We can orally lodge our complaint. There are various types of oral skills. First is speech. Second is seminar. Third is group discussion. Fourth, debate. Fifth, comparing. Sixth, taking an interview, as also giving an interview. And seventh is PowerPoint presentation. If you see, the last 3 skills have been highlighted or done bold, written in bold. That is so because these are the 3 skills that you are going to master in this particular unit. Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages of oral skills? Everything has its advantages as well as disadvantages. Now, the advantages of oral skills include, first and most important, oral skills are effective because we directly communicate with the audience. The people before us see us, hear us speak. They also see our gestures, our facial expressions, and this makes our speech or presentation very much effective. So, as oral speech or oral skills are accompanied by gestures and facial expressions, it is very much effective. The range of oral skills is very wide, or its reach is very large, because even if a person cannot write or read, he still can listen and understand the language, and so even an illiterate person can be reached with the help of oral skills, and hence the reach of oral skills is more. You take the example of the radio. You can find that people over the areas, even if they are not before you, they can listen to you, and the range of oral skills is very wide. Third is they are more precise because you have to present a particular point or particular information in a given time frame. You have to be more precise. Fourthly, oral skills are very emphatic, meaning they create a lot of emphasis or effect. Why? Because they make use of pauses, they use particular rhythm, use of tone is made, and pitch changes. This makes the speech very much effective. Then, another important characteristic or advantage rather of oral skills is it gives us immediate feedback of the audience. Because we speak before an audience, we get the response of the audience in the form of their movements, in the form of their expressions, in the form of their responses, speech, and so on. And this helps us in either presenting our topic, changing, modifying according to the need, changing even the style considering the mood of the audience. Then, next is the topic and style can be changed as per need in case of oral skills, because you have a response, you have a feedback from the audience, and accordingly you can change. But in case of written words, once it is written in the form of the book or some paper or some printed words, it cannot be changed. The author and the readers have no connection, what's direct connection whatsoever. And so there is no immediate feedback, or there cannot be changes introduced in such written skills. Oral skills make use of colloquial words. Colloquial words are local words which are not the part of any standard language. We know that language changes with every few miles, and so there are different varieties of a language spoken from place to place. They differ from place to place, and such expressions, such usages are involved in oral skills when we speak. It is easy to understand. Oral skills are easy to understand because they make use of the language actually spoken, and the dialects, the varieties are used, the words are used, the vocabulary is known, and hence it is easy to understand. It is simple, the sentences are short, they are grammatically, they may be incomplete, but the mood is understood by the reader through the intonation, the pitch of the voice, and it helps in easy understanding of the points. Now, there are certain disadvantages also of oral speech. Oral speech is temporary. Once the speech ends, you cannot store it. It is not stored. It is not recorded. The impact is over. You give a particular lecture and it's finished. If you don't take down any notes, it is finished. You cannot recall it word by word, and so it is temporary. But this is not the case with written skills, because a paragraph once written lasts forever. It is recorded, it becomes a part of the record, and it is permanent. Then, when we speak, as we speak according to the thoughts that come into our mind, the words that come into our mind on that at that particular time, on that particular occasion or day. And so there is a possibility of repetition. There is also a tendency of speakers, or everyone rather, to repeat an important point or the main points. They are repeated in our speech to create emphasis, and so there is possibility of repetition. There is also the possibility of digression or diffuseness. Digression is going away from the main point. It is missing the track. Now, this is likely to happen because when we speak, we don't have any written words before us. We speak as thoughts come to our mind. Then, as the response of the audience is received, there is every possibility that we may change the topic, we may change the word, we may get diverted from the main point. Some other point may emerge at that time, and then we may go drifting along that point. And so, there is every possibility of diffuseness and digression. Then there is the most important thing is for oral skills, we need an audience. At least one person should be there to listen. You cannot speak alone. You have to speak to someone. So the need of the audience is prerequisite, however small, however large. You need to have an audience for an oral skill. Most of the times, oral skills also lack planning because it is spontaneous. We utter words as they come to our mind. We may have points before us, but the sentence construction, the choice of words is totally dependent on that time, and so it is likely to lack planning. Sometimes, as it is not planned, some important points may be missed. There may be a sort of mixing up of the order of the points. Some important point may come towards the end and some trivial point may come earlier, so there is lack of planning. Then there is no standardization. As we use colloquial words, local varieties of language, dialects, there is no standardization in case of oral skills. But in written skills, when we make use of written skills, we have to use the standard format of language. We have to follow the rules of grammar. We cannot use the colloquial language at that time, and so it is a standardized version of language and it is acceptable to all and it is known to all. Then the rules of grammar are often broken or disregarded in oral skills because it is direct person to person contact, person to person communication, use of colloquial usages, constructions, word structure, vocabulary. It leads to the disregard of rules of grammar. It also is a result because in oral skills we give importance to communication rather than the correctness of content. So communication is important. So even if the rules of grammar are not followed, we continue with them and rules are easily broken, which is not allowed in case of written communication. Now, there are certain sub skills that are necessary to master oral skills, and in case of oral presentation, you need certain sub skills, and these are three in number. One is preparation, another is planning, and the third one is execution. Before resorting to any oral presentation, we need to perform these three tasks. First is preparation. In preparation, you need to gather relevant information, you need to gather necessary references. If possible and if necessary, you have to include diagrams, charts, make use of ICT tools, make use of statistical data, make use of maps, and other different things that are useful in presenting information. The next is planning. We have to plan our presentation according to the time available. You may gather a lot of information, but what to convey, what to communicate, how to communicate, what to communicate first, what to communicate later, what not to communicate, and how much in detail should we communicate. These things are part, or these considerations are part of the planning of our presentation. So, and they are determined by the nature of the audience and the available of physical assets. For example, if the audience is expert audience, we have to accordingly make use of techniques that are necessary for presenting to a particular audience. And in case of physical assets, we need to give consideration to maybe OHP and other physical assets that are available at our discretion. Then comes the most important part in that, and that is execution. Actual performance depends on the preparation and planning. We should keep in mind that before executing, we have to prepare and plan the presentation very much. Now, the factors that affect the effective presentation. They are confidence. The confidence of the speaker is very much important in the presentation of any speech. Language competence is quite necessary We need to master the language that we speak in. We should know the usages, the terms, the required information, and constructions, grammar rules. These are the things that are required of any language in which we wish to communicate. Then the speed of presentation. The speed of the presentation should not be too fast, it should not be too slow. If it is too fast, then the audience is at a loss to understand or comprehend what is spoken. And if it is too slow, then it becomes tiresome, it becomes boring for the audience. So the speed of the presentation should be optimal. Then body language. When we speak, it creates an impact. It is not just our speech or the sounds that we utter, it is a whole body that speaks. Our eye contact, our facial expressions, our gestures, that is, movements of the hands, feet, they all create a combined effect on the audience. So the body language should be proper and appropriate to what we speak. If we make unnecessary, unwarranted movements, then the effect of our speech is likely to be diluted, because it is seen that the audience is distracted by such movements. Their attention goes to our movements rather than the thoughts and the points that, or language, or the words that we speak, and hence the effect is lessened. Next, we should keep in mind that relevance. Whatever we speak, whatever we present, should be relevant to the topic, to the situation, to the theme, to the time, and it should be of use to the audience. So relevance is its importance, and if you are going to tell something that is unimportant, then the audience may not be interested in it. If you go on telling them whatever they already know, even then they may not be interested. So you must add to their knowledge, you must also see what they know, and then accordingly you should plan your oral presentation. Clarity and audibility are two main things which determine the effect of our oral presentation. Clarity in speaking. If you are not clear enough, then the audience may not understand what you speak. So clarity is an essential aspect of any oral presentation. And audibility, if your volume or speech level is very low, if you speak or mutter words, then the audience does not understand it. You are not audible, you are not clear, and there may be a confusion regarding the points that are spoken and points that you intend to speak. If the tone or pitch of your voice is too high, then it becomes jarring to the ears of the audience, and so it should be at optimum level. You should speak in a manner that is pleasant, in a speed that can be understood, grasped by the audience, and so it does not become tiresome. Finally, you should use voice modulation. Voice modulation is changes in the tone and pitch of the voice, changes in the way you utter words, the emphasis that you lay, the pronunciation of the words. There should not be any problem for the audience in understanding your words, your speech, and that is the importance of voice modulation. Voice modulation also has effect on the mood of the audience. Finally, you should be sincere. Even if you are presenting something simple, not very expert lecture, then also your sincerity counts. The audience is impressed by the sincerity of the speaker. So your presentation should be quite sincere. Now, with this, we come to the end of the oral skills, the factors that affect effective presentation. This part is a sort of introductory part, because after that, in this unit, that of oral skills, we are going to study three different skills: comparing, PowerPoint presentation, and finally there will be one more skill, and that is um, taking an interview. Now, these three skills are not new to you. If you see PowerPoint, this is a good example of PowerPoint. See, I am using a PowerPoint presentation, and at the same time, as I am recording my video, it is an oral presentation. I am presenting before you information with the help of the PowerPoint presentation that I have prepared. It involves preparing of slides. But the first one that we are going to study is comparing. The second one will be PowerPoint presentation, and the third will be taking an interview. You have listened of giving an interview. We are told how to give an interview, but how to take an interview, that is also an important oral skill in modern times, and we are going to learn these three in the coming videos or audios. Soon I shall be posting a video on comparing, and it will be followed by other videos on or audios on PowerPoint presentation and taking an interview. Thank you.